What's going on, guys? Mickle here, and in this video we are covering my XRP price targets. Guys, typically on this channel we're really breaking into the intricacies of the patterns playing out on the XRP price chart. In this video I really wanted to focus a little more long term and really tell you guys my long-term price predictions so you guys can get my general sense on where I believe this market is going in the future. I'm really excited to do this video. I think you guys are just going to find it super interesting, and I'm going to cover a lot of controversial topics such as the 4-year cycle, so you guys are definitely going to want to stick around for that. If you guys are new to this channel or come here all the time, make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to my channel. It's going to help me out so much in the YouTube algorithm and help more people like you see this video. Anyway, guys, with that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you enjoy it. Alrighty, guys, let's jump right into it. And you know, for a video like this, I had to be flexing my XRP t-shirt. Take a look at this thing. It's absolutely dope. And let's jump right into it. I really wanted to start this video talking about the 4-year cycle theory, give you guys my opinion on it, and just let you know my overall thoughts on it. I think it is summed up pretty well by this tweet thread I had with Darren Moore Jr. And he says lower lows, lower highs equals bear market, not an 8% correction. Kind of just making fun of the fact that crypto dips 8% and everyone starts calling for a bear market. I agree with him there. I said, what's your opinion on the 4-year cycle? Never heard you talk about it. My opinion is that we are very close to top assets Amazoning, going up for decades with normal corrections. And what I mean by this is if you look at a lot of the early tech stocks, they had very volatile cycles, all followed each other, all followed the NASDAQ. When the big ones crashed, everything crashed. When the big ones went up, everything went up. But over time, the best assets with utility really separated themselves from the rest and really just went up forever with normal corrections as more utility was brought to them. Internet stocks really took over the entire market and their value increased exponentially. That doesn't mean there was never corrections, there always were, but the top assets really created their own charts and separated from the rest of the pack. I believe this is what will happen with crypto, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly why that's the case. Darren Moore Jr. says, my opinion is we take everything as it comes. I don't think years in the future observations will mean anything. The macro has changed quite a bit from 2017 and 2014. Inflation, COVID, and crypto utility is on the horizon. I completely agree with him. I don't think you can necessarily just take charts from 2014 and 2017, overlay them on top of each other and say, okay, this happened in the past, that means that this is exactly what's going to happen in the future. And really the main reason for that is because it's impossible to understand what the fundamentals will be in the future. No one can predict the future, and therefore we really just have to take these things how they go and see how adoption takes over these markets. Nothing's going to simply repeat forever because that would simply be way too obvious, and that's not how markets work. I say, I agree. Seems like everyone and their mom knows that the top is in December, March timeframe. And by this, I'm kind of calling out the fact that every single person on crypto Twitter seems to think it's absolutely obvious that the top of the Bitcoin market and the crypto market is coming in February, January timeframe of this winter. I say, and then back to the 4-year bear market. That thinking just seems overly simplified to me. Fundamentals are going to drive this market maybe sooner than people think. I think it's kind of funny that everyone thinks that the top is going to be in this winter, but typically when everyone thinks the same thing in markets, everyone's wrong and the markets do something they're not expecting. So this is just something I want to point out. Just because everyone's screaming that this is exactly what's going to happen, no one can predict the future, and no one knows that this is exactly what's going to be taking place. I say, it's always seemed to me like the people who held through the last bear market are so scared to go through it again, they've convinced themselves they know exactly what will happen this time around. And I think this is really what we're seeing. A lot of people who were held for the last 4 years really want certainty right now. And certainty means telling themselves they know exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to take place. at the end of the day, it's impossible to know what's going to happen. And no matter how long you stare at charts, it's impossible to tell what's going to happen on the macro. As Darren Moore Jr. pointed out, inflation, COVID, and crypto utility were all things that didn't happen in other market cycles, and to completely discredit that just because a couple charts look similar to like they did in the past, I don't think makes a lot of sense. We need to be prepared for when these assets with utility diverge from the rest of the market. Eventually, a lot of these cryptos will take over stocks that look like Amazon, because that's how all assets work over time. Great assets increase exponentially over time because their value is constantly driven by utility. That's why Amazon has increased so much over the last couple years, and we're really in the early stages of digital assets. Essentially, where we are right now is very similar to where Amazon was during the tech bubble, and I kind of just want to show you that right now. If we take a look at Amazon during the tech bubble, we can see that during this time, almost every single internet and tech stock increased massively and then went on a massive fall. At this time, if we were doing the same thing as we're doing in crypto as we were back here, a lot of people would be trying to create this into cycles, saying that the next time Amazon goes up here, it will crash to this amount because this is what happened to the last time. But if we take a look at the Amazon chart, we can see that this thing just increased exponentially over time because Amazon was an absolute leader in the tech space, and therefore utility took over its market and completely diverged it from the rest of everything else. And now this back here just looks like a blip on the radar, and you can barely even see it on the longer time frame. I have a feeling this is exactly what's going to happen with crypto as utility hits this market. A lot of people call crypto Web3, and for that reason, I think the utility is going to be similar and ultimately drive it to new all-time highs with regular corrections over time. I don't think forever it's just going to be these constant cycles of increase 4 years, decrease 4 years, increase 4 years, decrease 4 years. That's far too obvious and doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. No chart, no asset follows regular cycles like that forever. Eventually, it gets taken over by different factors such as utility and human emotions. At the end of the day, humans trade all these markets, and before there's utility, emotions dominate. Once utility comes in, utility dominates, and that's why we see stocks like Amazon not anymore following the emotional cycles that they might have followed in the past. Once utility comes to crypto, I think these everything correlating together is going to go away, and I think we're very close to mass utility coming to crypto. We see giant hedge funds coming in, traditional companies like MasterCard developing crypto strategies. We see macro investors that typically would never touch crypto, like Kevin O'Leary, getting heavily involved, and therefore I think it's a very risky time to just be assuming that this cycle is going to be exactly the same as the rest. Now, with all that being said, and I hope that wasn't too much, I want to get into XRP and where I think my XRP price targets will be. The first easy target that I can say with absolute confidence is this $11 to $10 range. The reason why I think that is easy is because XRP is a top tier digital asset. If we look at charts like Ethereum and Bitcoin, we can see that they're well past their all-time highs, and if we chart it out, they're about 200% past their all-time highs. In my opinion, and I've said this all the time on this channel, XRP is absolutely undervalued until it reaches about 200%, passes all-time highs like all the other blue chip top tier digital assets, and that puts it at $10 to $11. I have no problem forecasting this. I think it's absolutely in the future. I think it will come a lot quicker than people expect, and I don't even think it needs SEC clarity to happen. When it comes down to it, the SEC really hasn't given clarity to anyone in the market, and as we can see right now, they're ready to backtrack on anything they say. The entire crypto market's really in the same space, so if Ethereum can make it past its all-time high, there's no doubt in my mind that XRP could make it to a very similar place. The next place I kind of want to mark XRP at is the $20 to $30 range. In my opinion, this is also extremely probable. This would put it at about right between where Bitcoin and Ethereum's market caps are right now. I think this is a very safe spot for XRP to be in, especially if we get some SEC clarity. Right now, a lot of the market is convinced that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. I don't think the SEC is really convinced of that, but it seems like most of the investment firms are. So I think once XRP kind of gets that okay from the SEC, which I think undoubtedly is going to happen, that will allow a lot of new money to flow into it that might have been scared to in the past. I think this easily puts it at the evaluation between what about Ethereum and Bitcoin is, maybe a little less than Ethereum, maybe a little more, maybe a little under Bitcoin. Whatever it is, I think it comes around that space, and therefore I feel pretty confident with a little extra clarity in the XRP market going to around the $36 region. And if we take a chart, if we take a line right here and just draw it upwards, we can see that on this logarithmic chart, it really doesn't even look that out of place. We can see we had this massive gain back here, parabolic move that significantly moved the XRP price from about half a penny all the way to the 70-cent range. If we forecast the fact that XRP will likely make another massive move up as utility comes into the market, just taking a look at this chart on a zoomed out view, it really doesn't look too out of the ordinary for XRP to make it to around this $26 range. I just think a lot of times when we look at cycles like this, and while we can't perfectly predict when exactly they're going to go into bull and bear markets, we can see that this just looks like something on the chart that makes sense. And even if it goes more gradually, I think it still makes sense that XRP makes it to this $23, $26 range, because at the end of the day, there's still a lot of capital that needs to flow in. I think over time, and this could be a 5 to 10 year out thing, I think XRP makes it to over $100. I don't think this is too out of the cards, because when you look at the markets XRP is really trying to disrupt, they're multi-trillion-dollar markets. It's really how money flows all over the world, creating liquidity, making faster payments, and digital assets are going to eat this entire market. We're in the very early stages, and the reason why I can say this with confidence is the last time people really figured out about XRP, got bullish on it, we saw the market rally over 60,000%. If XRP was just to make it to $100, it would only be 11,000%. So assuming that XRP goes absolutely berserk with SEC clarity, massive companies come online, maybe we get Bank of America announcements, we get massive US banks now able to work with XRP. At the end of the day, there's going to be a ton of speculation that causes the price to absolutely skyrocket. If we saw gains anything similar to what we saw back here, and this is actually significantly less, we could see XRP easily rally over $100, and this wouldn't even surprise me. I think this is not something we should expect in the next year or two, but something over the long run, over the next 5 to 10 years, I think could easily happen. Before I really summarize that, I just want to point out that if we look back here at Amazon, and we were saying, say we were buying Amazon right about here, and saying, I promise you Amazon will get back to all-time highs. It will pass all-time highs. All the other tech stocks are past all-time highs. Amazon was trading at $74, and I looked at you guys and I said, one day in the next 5 to 10 years, Amazon will be trading at $700. A lot of you would have commented all my videos and say, oh, that's stupid. That's never going to happen. How is Amazon going to get there? That market cap's way too big. And if this is 2008, and we just zoom out a couple years, we can see that about 10 years later, Amazon was easily passing these prices and is still going up exponentially. When you get in top tier assets, it's really hard to put price prediction on what's going to happen before the market properly values it. I think we just need to wait and see. XRP is a top tier asset, and that's why I am so confident that it will reach these crazy prices that no one can imagine. But the first two price targets I gave you, I really don't even think are outlandish. I think they're pretty safe and are things I expect in the market. The last thing I want to say is if you guys are looking for a conservative pick, looks like Amazon's about to make a massive move up. Looks like it's been consolidating for a while, but that's not what this channel is about. Anyway, guys, thanks for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really wanted to give you my opinion on the 4-year cycles. Make sure if you don't follow him, you check out Darren Moore Jr. He's absolutely awesome in this space. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and for now, Mickle out.